Hello, scholars. Welcome to Clinical Psychology, Chapter 18, Neuropsychology, Key Terms and Definitions. Here we go. Agnosia, impairment in a sensory perception. Aphasia, impairment in language ability. Apraxia, impairment in the ability to perform certain voluntary movements. Cerebral hemorrhage, a situation in which a blood vessel ruptures and the blood escapes into brain tissue, either damaging or destroying it. Concussion, jarring of the brain sufficient to result in a momentary disruption of brain function. A single concussion usually does not cause permanent damage. Contusions, bruises in the brain. They result when the brain has been shifted from its normal position and pressed against the skull. They may be severe and result in delirious or comatose states. Degenerative disease, a group of disorders, such as Alzheimer's, that result from the degradation of neurons in the central nervous system. Delirium, a disruption of consciousness usually caused by exposure to toxins. Difference scores, a method for interpreting neuropsychology test data that focuses on the difference between a patient's scores on separate tests. Equipotentiality, the notion that the cortex functions as a whole and that all areas of the brain contribute equally to overall intellectual functioning. Frontal lobes, the frontal lobes are associated with executive functions such as formulating, planning, and carrying out goal-directed behaviors, monitoring and controlling behaviors as well. Functional model, a theory that integrates the localization of function and equipotentiality of function and a theory that integrates the localization of function and equipotentiality perspectives. This theory holds that any behavior is due to the interaction of several brain systems and that the nature of a behavioral deficit will depend on functional system that is affected, as well as the localization of damage within the structure system. Halstead-Reitman battery consists of several measures and is used to provide data about specific deficits, the probable localization of lesions, and whether the lesions appear to be gradual or sudden. Houston Conference, a conference on clinical neuropsychology, training that occurred September 1997. As a result of this conference, specific guidelines were offered for the training of future clinical neuropsychologists. Lacerations, cuts, tears, or ruptures. Lacerations of brain tissue may occur when the skull has been damaged. Left hemisphere controls the right side of the body, involved in language functions, logical inference, and detailed analysis. Localization of function, the idea that certain portions of the brain are responsible for specific functions/behaviors. Luria, Nebraska battery, test battery that assesses abilities over 11 subtest groupings. Neurodiagnostic procedures, procedures for detecting the presence and location of brain damage. Neuropsychology, the study of the relationship between brain function and behavior. Occipital lobes, the portion of the cortex involved with visual processing and some aspects of visually mediated memory. Occlusions, blockages in blood vessels caused by clots. The vessels serving particular areas of the brain may become occluded, resulting in one type of stroke. Parental lobes, the portion of the cortex related to tactive and kinesthetic perception and understanding spatial. It's basically understanding perception, language comprehension, and stuff like that. Pathognomic, inductive of a specific disease or condition, one method for interpreting neuropsychological test data, notes, and drawing of the interpretation. Pattern analysis, a method of neuropsychological test interpretation in which the basic pattern of scores on tests is examined to see whether it matches a pattern that has been associated with a specific neurological injury or impairment. Process/flexible approach or hypothesis testing approach. The neuropsychologist selects the tests to be administered to each patient based on his or her hypothesis about the case and may even alter the administration of tests. Rehabilitation. In the context of neuropsychology, the treatment of patients with cognitive and behavioral impairment due to brain dysfunction or injury. The right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, involved in spatial skills, creative and musical activities. Standard battery. All patients are administered the same set of neuropsychological tests. Temporal lobes. Portion of the cortex that mediates linguistic expression, reception, and analysis, and is involved in processing tones, sounds, rhythms, and meanings. Tumors. Abnormal tissue growths that may grow inside or outside the brain or spread to the brain. Thank you for joining us for Chapter 18, Neuropsychology. Key terms and definitions. Study well!